welcome to a conversation with Sandip Dikshit. He's a former MP from Delhi and of course a face that is very well known in Delhi and also pan-India. Sandip, welcome to this conversation.
Thank you.
We're talking, just I think, 2 weeks left before the Delhi elections. But let's begin with Delhi Congress per se. It doesn't look like in a very good state. You just had your chief resigning and joining the BJP recently.
You see, past 8-10 days, the events that have happened, quite correctly, organizationally have not been good for us. Right? The message that goes out, while it may not necessarily damage the internal organization and how we work, but it certainly doesn't send out a very good message, right? And we can say that somebody's betrayed, is gone back to the BJP. But thing is, this is something that I personally feel we should have avoided. And we could have avoided that. Now, as I said, there is no finality to the fact that could we really have avoided people leaving and joining the other party? Maybe not. But I think, there is one issue in which I've had a bit of a different point of view to a lot of people in the Congress, is that we actually should not allow people to leave. My feeling has been that for a very long time. That's okay. It's not that everybody you would allow. Some people are genuinely wanting to damage, or they are too ambitious, or the pressure on them is something they can't handle. All those cases are still fine. But in many cases, I think the fact that if we can reach out, we can meet them. Sometimes there are genuine expectations. Sometimes party has been really unfair or unjust to people. So there are also circumstances in which they are feeling hurt, or they feel left out, or they feel ignored. And that feeling has some justification. And it can happen in any large organization. Not that, Congress is particularly at fault, or any general secretary or anybody else is particularly at fault. But I think in these cases, if we just reach out, and we reach out to voters, we reach out to people who are unhappy with us, we reach out to new constituents, we reach out to people who dislike us. So why can't we reach out to people who, till at least that moment, are our colleagues? I think we had done that, we could have avoided that. And in fact, that could have been perhaps also the case in many other instances that have been happening currently in the last couple of months and maybe in the last 7-8 years.
So let's talk specifically about the Arvinder Lovelys case, because, since he's Delhi, he's also been very close, confidant of your mother. He's also, we've seen that, you're also close colleagues. And a lot of you have been saying that, the ticket distribution was not good. Congress workers were not given priority. Outsiders have been given tickets.
Well, I think that's a valid point. But again, see, there have been systems in the Congress where if there is a feeling of that certain distribution has not been done in the manner in which it should have been done. There have been cases where there are platforms in which you can convey that to the party. And there have been changes. I mean, even in the current elections, I'm not sure what the number is, but I think at least 30-40 seats have been changed, or maybe less than that have been changed. I mean, I keep getting these circulars from the Congress. And when I get a seat of, say, 7 seats announced, at least 2 or 1 are in lieu of somebody else. So they have been changed, which means that there have been cases in which party has, as an afterthought, or perhaps some other new information coming in, believed that the person they had allocated a particular seat to or nominated to may not have been the best decision, and changed those decisions. So what's been happening in other parts of India, they could have at least applied that principle. I'm not saying you change them, but obviously if you get into a process of discussion, at least you talk to people, right? You could have sorted that out. Not having done that, I don't know what the political prospects would be. Overall in India, I'm finding that the alliance is gaining. There is a sense of I would say, tiredness, of the fact that, there is fatigue, the fact that BJP has not delivered. All that is there. But, if we are also putting in, say, candidates, but at least people like us believe maybe 20 rather than 19.5 to somebody else, we'll probably be able to take the fight a little more aggressively.
In terms of, I'll also talk about your allies, but within the, what you're saying, the whole attitude has so far been, jo ja rahe hain, to jaye, good, there's, what happens? Ego comes in?
Or... नहीं, ये देखो, जो जा सकते हैं, वो जाए, मेरे, जैसे मैंने कहा, मेरे हिसाब से ठीक
बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है.
ठीक है, as a after event, it's a statement to make in which you show a sense of confidence, and that should be there. I mean, if somebody's left, he's left. Or he or she has left. We can't do much about that.
You can't go begging him. Yeah.
Okay. But have we made enough efforts to hold somebody back? Okay. And the other thing, Priya, it's very easy to say ideology. It's very easy to say commitment. 70 to 80% people today in the political public life are like professional politicians. Okay, for many of them, it's like jumping an organization. I'm in Reliance today, I'll go to Adani tomorrow, I'll go to Tata, then I'll go to somewhere else. Okay, because they are in it, and many people believe that even if we want to serve the nation or whatever that word is, I mean, it's a very pompous word. Frankly, most of us shouldn't use it that lightly. But they say, okay, if this vehicle is not available, I'll use the other one. You know, I can't remain in operation or even in operation without any opportunity for years and years. And if somebody here is not recognizing my talent, for whatever reason, if somebody else is recognizing my talent and giving me an opportunity to either do well professionally or serve the people, why should I not take it? So I think we must also realize that ideology is not something that is binding a lot of parties as much as they used to 20, 30, 40 years ago. Okay? And we've also been far more flexible today. We have brought in people from very different political mindsets. I mean, today, look at that. Shiv Sena is one of our strongest allies. And I thought it was a great move because for me, Shiv Sena's joining or Congress joining the alliance of Shiv Sena was not us, getting down on notch on two on our commitments to secularism, equality, dignity, and the fact that we treat all citizens equal. It also bringing a party that till then was perhaps at the furthest pole of what we thought politics should be all about, nearer to our point of view. So I thought it was, it's like a sangam, where a little bit of them, little bit of us, and perhaps a better, more nuanced, more understood, more contextual mutual understanding comes together. Of course, no two parties, no two people can always come together. But I thought that was a great move. So if we can ally with parties with whom we've had very, very severe differences, perhaps in many subjects we still continue to have those differences, then why not with people?
Parties with differences, I mean, you didn't take the example of Aam Aadmi Party.
Right. See, Aam Aadmi Party, again, I've also been constantly maintaining, and this is a question constantly asked of me, okay? Because in the last 8-9 years, while for many, many years, almost all the Congress leaders kept particularly quiet about Aam Aadmi, a few of them in the last 2-3 years suddenly found that attacking AAP is good for their Delhi politics. Most people kept quiet. And I've been talking about AAP and AAP's misgovernance in Delhi, their set of lies, whatever fraud they've been doing constantly. I don't think anybody can question me on that. I've taken out statistics on that. 2020 elections, I did the same. Before and after, I've done the same. But you see, this is not a fight for Delhi state. It's a fight for the national elections, okay? And there I found, at least in the last 8-10 months, because earlier on I used to find that AAP used to always, coming in the final crux, stand somewhere where it would help the BJP's position. I think they've realized that that's not helping them. For whatever reason, some sense has gone into their head, whether because they are being personally attacked or I don't know, or they would know the reason best to themselves. They have been a little more accommodating of the broad Congress's view of how the nation should be run and what should be the principal tenets on which nation's politics should be designed.
So it is Congress that is driving the alliance, you feel?
So let me just finish. So when they've started coming a little more towards our side, of course, they have this tendency of always saying that they said that thing for the first time in their lives, you know. They are a lot like Modi in that nobody ever did anything. And Aam Aadmi and BJP, the only team who've done everything for the first time, said everything for the first time. But forget that, that's okay. So when they realized that, I think they're coming together in the alliance was something which is a lot more just and perhaps easy to accommodate today. So now when it comes to Delhi Assembly, Delhi elections, that's a very, very different platform. We will see that when that comes. I don't know what the national leadership or the state Delhi leadership is thinking about that. But there, I think in case there is any hope that something works out or not, I think those will be questions that are far more serious and far more difficult to answer than it is the case in a national alliance.
But for you, Sandip, it is also personal. Arvind Kejriwal came to power. One of the plans he used was to target the Delhi Chief Minister, then Delhi Chief Minister, who was also your mother, apart from being a leader of the Congress party. Arvind Singh Lovely, in his resignation, said that he had a very difficult time getting you to come and protest when Kejriwal was arrested. And you've also been saying that there is a case against Kejriwal prior to the alliance.
Look, what is the Congress's viewpoint as far as this is concerned? What happened with my mother, I'll come to a minute or two later. Congress has constantly been pointing out to various issues in the Delhi government where we believe that misdemeanors may have been done. Now, it's the role of the opposition to articulate their concerns about issues of dishonesty, corruption, wrongdoing, whatever it is as far as the government is concerned. And then it is for the law and justice machinery to decide whether there is some merit in our case. And if there is merit in our case, is it prosecutable to put somebody behind bars or not? Right. That is not something we interfere with, okay? Our previous president, Anil Chaudhary, filed a complaint on the liquor case. I've also gone, and apart from the liquor case, I've sent 2 or 3 other very major complaints to the LG. LG has also forwarded them to various departments of investigation. What's happened to them, I don't really know. I'm not pursuing them, but I hope I'll get some updates as to whatever that case is. Based on Congress's complaints on liquor and some of the other issues, right, an investigation was carried out. Right? That investigation is going on. At what state that investigation is, nobody knows. Okay, because half the time you don't know what the government is doing. The other half, you don't know what the defense is doing. So it's in some muddle going on there. But obviously, something is going on, right? Our issue was that just before elections, the way you went and arrested the Jharkhand's chief minister, Mr. Hemant Soren, similarly you did with this gentleman. That process reeks of arrogance and abuse of powers that are there with you.
Okay.
I won't say misuse, abuse. I mean, see, in a lathi charge, you are told that when you do a lathi charge, you hit at areas where people don't get hurt. The same lathi will not be taken to break your skull, because that is almost like murdering you. Okay, so I'm saying it's like that. You are given the charge of a lathi charge, but where do you use the lathi? In what place? At what time do you use that? So when you do arrest, for example, could you not have waited 20 more days, 30 more days, let him finish his elections, or at least go in the morning? Between the night that they went and the morning, is it something that in 9 hours Kejriwal would tell the truth and in the morning he would start telling lies again? So it's just the optics of it, and in politics, optics makes a difference, right? You have to also support. I'm not saying, I'm in nowhere saying dignity of the chief minister. There is no difference between a chief minister and any citizen. In fact, I'm very much against that. In fact, I'm very much against also Supreme Court even saying that should he be released interimly to campaign. That is wrong. If he's to be released, he should be released. His work is not important. How is him being a chief minister as less important or more important to his life than, say, my being an academic or a sportsman or anybody else? It's a life I've chosen. For me, my work is of equal importance. And law should not treat any 2 people differently based on what their profession is. But that apart. So my thing is that, I think you could have given him some opportunity. Same thing with Hemant Soren. Okay. Then the way you do it, it is that we protested against. So we protested against the way and manner in which the arrest has been done. We believe it was a kind of a deliberate, arrogant misuse or not misuse, abuse of the law. Okay. You can always say that, Kejriwal did not attend the summons that ED sent him. I'm on record to say that I think he should go. I don't think anybody should avoid the summons. Of course, you can always say that I'm in a particular election, give me 5 more days, give me 10 more days. That happens. Okay. You can always use that. Obviously, your work is important. What you're doing at that point is important. But I still maintain, I don't know what the Congress's point of view is, that as far as the cases are concerned, we don't give anybody a clean sheet. We believe that something wrong has happened, whether Mr. Manish Sisodia and Kejriwal are personally involved or not, that the law and justice machinery will take a look at. But we believe that something which is akin to a scam in liquor has taken place. Government and its investigating agencies must seriously look at that, then decide if these people are to be prosecuted or not. And after that, the honorable judges will decide whether they are guilty or not. We are not a part of that process. But we certainly don't want the law to be used on people who at least at that moment are innocent, because that's what our law says, that until proved guilty, you are innocent. Until then, there should be a decency, depending on the supposed crime you've committed, on what kind of way in which you should be treated. It's not a murder crime, it's not a rape, it's not a balwa, it's not a very serious case of that kind. So I think in that sense, we still support the fact that he should not have been treated the way he's been treated.
Are you a lawyer in your part-time? I've heard a very rational argument. But to come back to the case against Sheila Dikshit, nothing was found at the end of the day. They made a big hue and cry of it for their political ends, and they made it a political case. Do you feel that somewhere the Aam Aadmi Party should at least come on board and say they were wrong? I know, I doubt they will.
They should, but they can't.
Can the Congress?
I'll tell you, the day they do that, right, that will be the beginning of their end. Let me put it. See, there was a time when Churchill had said something very interesting about the World War at the time of when the Battle of Britain, the Great Air Battle took place. He said, this is not the beginning of the end, right? But this is the end of the beginning.
Okay.
Okay? Of beginning of the... Yeah. So, what's happened in Delhi is that the end of the beginning has already happened. If they do these apologies, okay, they'll sign their own death knell.
Yeah, to
And I think
Gadkari,
Kejriwal knows this part of his politics far better than any other party does. And being in the kind of unique position there he is, and the way he sold himself as this little, little fellow who's always good for India, who's always been troubled and bullied by Modi, this
victim
image to
card.
the rest of the India alliance, okay? He's kind of kept himself there, and therefore nobody's questioning him on this behalf. Because, like Priya, many people, when they ask me, many of your fellow journalists ask me, as to how do you feel supporting him?
Right.
How does he feel supporting the Congress? Why is it nobody ever asked him?
Good question.
He went to town about misdemeanors of Mrs. Dikshit. It's a different fact that not even an inquiry could take place. I think time of 10 years has proven that Sheila Dikshit was perhaps India's most honest politician. Otherwise, with 9 years of AAP government and 9 years of BJP government, you think even if there was one little iota of a suspicion, at least something should have happened. So I am satisfied that time has, put her at a pedestal that few other politicians are put at, okay? But nobody's ever asked him. I mean, I'm supposed to do, according to Aadmi people, half of Delhi is owned by me. According to Aadmi people, there's hardly any contract in which I don't have a finger. Okay. According to Aadmi people, and perhaps a lot of people in Delhi, there's hardly anything that Delhi government purchased which was not part of God knows which imaginary company I'm supposed to have had. Okay. So now that they are standing next to me, now that their spokesmen are standing next to me, now that in case I had got a ticket, they would have been, saying Sandip Dikshit Zindabad and voting for me. Why doesn't somebody ask him what has happened to you? They are the ones who said that ask Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, she should be put behind bars, and once she's put behind bars and interrogated, all the truths of the scams of Congress should come out.
Right.
From that statement to today, has he come only because he believes that he needs the support of the Congress and India to keep himself out of jail? Or is there really a change of heart or a new understanding that he's brought? I think he should be asked those questions. He will evade them. Half the media who also gets as much money from them as perhaps BJP does. I mean, there is a greater Godi media for AAP than for BJP. I'm very, very convinced about that. They don't have the guts to ask him the questions. Just to illustrate this point, a very well-known YouTuber these days is coming out with a list of 100 lies of Modi. Will he ever come out with a list called 100 lies of Kejriwal? No. Okay. So, even so-called independent medias are fairly Godi media today.
That ship has sailed, so I'm not going to get into it.
No, I'm just saying, as I said, you've given me an opportunity to say something, so I've said it.
Fair enough. But now coming to the nitty-gritties of the India alliance per se, how do you see the alliance shaping up in terms of taking on Modi, the poll narrative that is going on? Do you see the Congress and the opposition has been able to make a dent?
Okay, 2 points here. One is, because I don't spend much time in Delhi, I spend a lot of time in rural India. That's why my work has been, and past 8-9 years I've also been there. I've seen a great sense of dissatisfaction as far as this government is concerned. Okay, and personally, the image of Modi has never been as low in the last 6-8 months as it was in the last 8.5-9 years, for whatever reason. Okay, has our campaign and the fact that we should have been doing very, very well matched the
mood on the ground,
let's say the rifts in the voters? I don't think so. I don't think we are aggressive enough to catch the problem. Okay, so it's like it's like a weak body. Is the virus attack enough to make it diseased or not? Sorry, I'm using a terrible example. Don't
virus these days.
But it's just to show that are we really weak? I don't think so. Okay, we could have been far more aggressive. I think if we had really understood what was happening in Indian homes and in Indian streets and in Indian mohallas and put together our act, we should have been sailing without any problem at a decent majority for the India alliance. I'm sure about that. So I think we may have missed the fact that we could have concretized the election by now, and there wouldn't have been any doubts of the fact that BJP is losing. But the second part is that the surge amongst people is actually pretty enough. So even if we are doing some effort, and I think Congress's campaign has been fairly good now in the last, while we may not be doing it on television, we're doing it on YouTube, or we're doing it on WhatsApp, or we're doing it on whatever these channels are, or through local small channels, okay, or whatever newspapers we have. I am sure our partners in the India Alliance are doing elsewhere. I think that even though it may not be, say, according to me, as aggressive, or maybe we don't have that resources, but it is matching what people are thinking. After a long time, what the opposition is saying is in many senses how the hearts are beating of most Indians. So that just may take us to what I'm thinking could actually be the result of this election, which I would say is that the India alliance creeps to a majority. I won't say we sweep to a majority, but we creep to a majority.
Yeah, how you get there doesn't matter. That you're getting there is interesting.
Yeah. See, the sweep and thing is that you get 300, 320 and you know. But the fact is that we can creep up to that. Again, I'm saying I'm not predicting, okay, because there are, as I said, between these two, okay. For example, this election, very frankly, is not an election that Modi will win. This is an election that India alliance will win or India alliance will lose.
So it is yours to win or lose.
It's ours to win or lose.
But there is a major drawback that you have because we are also in an era of personalized campaigns. You know, some push the Modi and, you know, who's your face. Rahul Gandhi has improved a lot, I would say, but still, you know, we've been looking at various surveys. There is still a 50% gap between him and Modi.
Could be. As I said, I don't think, at least in the past 30, 40 years, whenever I've seen a survey, the incumbent Prime Minister or Chief Minister has ever been that unpopular. In most cases. I mean, Mrs. Dikshit remained most popular, yet lost the election pretty badly. Okay. So I don't, but you see, the interesting part is, let's divide it state-wise. Okay. In the Hindi belt, how this 50% translates in the states in which we are really fighting with BJP.
Yes.
There, what is the image of Mr. Gandhi versus Modi? I think that is something we need to take. In Bengal, people are not really comparing, Narendra Modi with, say, Rahul Ji, probably with Mamta or somebody else. And in some areas where Congress is strong. In Maharashtra, he and the BJP are battling Uddhav Thackeray on one side, Congress on the other side, NCP on the third side, and our national leadership. In Kerala, it's a very different image. In Telangana, it's a different image. So, as I'm saying is, it's getting reduced much more to state-wise. And if you remember the last time that there was a state-wise election, BJP lost, which was 2004. Remember, every analyst later on said that India voted in its states. So Tamil Nadu voted out, Andhra voted out, this voted out, that voted out. And in spite of India shining. Because what happened in that election is, rather than being an election in which people were voting in India as a whole, voters voted in states together. When moment it comes down to the states, as I said, that is why I'm saying that India alliance now has a very good chance. So I'm not saying Congress, I'm saying India alliance.
So the sum of all various elections.
Yes, the sum of all.
Before I let you go, Sandip, what about you personally? Are you, you were a contender for the North-East Delhi seat, which has now been given to Kanhaiya Kumar, somebody from Bihar. So do you feel that, there is, that you feel that the party has not given you your due? See, look, first of all, I wasn't really asking from Northeast. Okay, I was actually asking from Chandni Chowk, and I know, and from long time, from about 3-4 months back, I knew that Northeast is to be given to Kanhaiya. That was very, very clear. Whatever people may say, we asked for the seat or not, that I've known for a very long time. Okay. And knowing how the Congress and its, brain trust sometimes works, which is quite bewildering at times, I knew this was happening, so, usme kuch nahi kar sakte. Obviously, I thought that, it will be a good opportunity to put myself across. But you see, there's another part. I don't have I would say, very cozy or a very comfortable or very close relationship with, frankly, anybody in the Congress leadership. Okay, I do my own work. I'm not somebody who visits houses, meets people, greets them. Okay, and I have a professional relationship with a lot of people in the Congress. You're not a Durbari, to put it politely. That too, not at all. Secondly, I am hardly of any group. Okay, when people say form a group, I said I'm not going to waste my time forming silly groups. Okay, with people I wouldn't even want to have a cup of tea with. I mean, they are my political colleagues. They're not my friends or acquaintances, or soulmates, or brainmates, or idea mates, or anything like that. Okay, so I think that may cost me, may not cost me. But it's really for the Congress to decide. Let me, in the end, put my position. I don't think Congress believes that they really need me to fight an election, or they really need me in some kind of a organizational post, okay? But they do need me around, okay? Which is why every time there is some rumor going on that I may be leaving the party, a few of them get a little worried, and some of them even pick up a phone and don't ask me, ask my colleagues. I hope he's not leaving. Why, I don't know. I mean, for example, if I'm not important enough to either get a seat or get an organizational role, then I'm a worker. If I'm just a worker, then there are millions of workers of the Congress. They're not worried about every worker coming or not. But I think somewhere they believe that it's good to have me around,
it's one more face that you can have around. So you don't have to at least go to television and say he betrayed and he didn't have an ideology and, make all kinds of stories about me, which we immediately start making moment everybody leaves.
Correct.
So I think they want me around, but that's about it. Okay. I myself believe that if I need to be a little more politically active, okay, I'll have to make myself far more active on the parts in which I believe I should be politically active. Okay, Congress is something I believe in. Okay, and I don't care what Congress thinks of me. As somebody in between had come to me and said, which is what Arvinder Lovelys had also said, that they were wanting to, kick you out of the Congress. So I just said, anybody can kick me out of the Congress. They can't kick Congress out of me. So that's their bloody problem, and that's not an issue. So I'll see what I do after that. Okay. As I said, everybody gets disappointed when they don't get an opportunity. Okay. But again, last elections also I didn't take a seat. They gave it to my mother. I went there. And last 8-9 years, I have not asked for a seat. In fact, very often, they asked me about Delhi Pradesh Congress also. I said, look, I don't have the resources. I don't have the time. Whether people believe it or not, I have to do a job to sustain my house. I don't think politicians even believe that, somebody needs to do a job. They all have, I don't know, for what reason, able to sustain themselves.
Well, so much for the rumors about you.
That's okay. I don't care about the rumors. Look, I have to look at myself in the mirror every morning. I have to see my wife every morning. I have to meet my daughter. I have to meet my sister. I have to meet my family. And if I can meet them with my head held high, care two hoots about anybody else. Okay. So if I can look at myself with honor and the fact that I've led a life which I believe is good and decent and honest, I don't care what people say. And time will prove that. Ultimately, I don't have handcuffs on my hands now. So, at least till now. Okay. So I would say, let's see what time comes. But all I can say is that I'm here. I'm as eager to be in politics, and through whatever little I can affect, I can try and see that we get good governments. And if there are not good governments, try and kick out those governments. And I'll continue to do that.
So no plans of leaving the Congress?
No. I don't think that. See, as I said, the Congress ideology, the way Congress thinks, the way it evolves, may not completely be in agreement with what I think it should be like, but that's probably the case with many people, okay? And unlike many people, I say what I... See, this is something that's damaged me in the past, but I will continue to say it in the manner in which I want to say. I'm not, sorry for using the word, a sissy. Okay.
That you are not.
Yeah, that I'm not.
In fact, I should have said this in the introduction, but every time I meet Sandip Dikshit, I have one regret, that I waste too much time in interviews with you, in between interviews, because Sandip Dikshit is some person I think one needs to keep talking to on and again. So does the Congress. I would call you the conscience of the Congress. I think they should listen to him more often. Whatever he said, there's logic behind it. He's backing his statements with some rationale, some logic. And in that, I think he is that rare congressman. So, Sandip, thank you so much for this conversation.
Yeah, thanks.